Good morning, everybody. Welcome to LOCPod, live from Power in Indiana, Lake County Studios, the Midwest's most dangerous podcast, Season 14, Episode 19, with our friend and best fill-in ever, John Cantrell.
Way to fucking bring it, Kevin. I love that energy. You know?
I mean, can we really?
Yes.
Let me ask you.
Okay.
With Tom gone again, can we call him the locomotive anymore? I mean, it's kind of like Vesmar's the locomotive at this point.
You know, this is ski season, so I feel like this is pretty typical.
John,
you know? Yeah.
That is a poll for the chat. Yeah.
Vez, I mean, you're the constant. You're the North Star.
I am the
Yes.
I am the North Star. Thank you.
He's a fill-in, but he's a union fill-in.
That's
he's
true.
Not a scab, you know.
That's
like,
true.
yeah, uh-huh.
That is true.
I think, Cantrell's more of the co-host at this point.
No, don't say that.
Yeah,
Don't bring that on me.
there we go.
We got to switch that sign up.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I forgot to turn it on. Can you turn that on, Cantrell?
Oh.
There's a little
Good
remote
luck.
next to
Yeah.
you.
Like, what do you want me to
Actually,
there's a
okay,
remote.
so
Put,
this
put
is
a timer on. Let's see how long it takes.
Oh,
him to
This
do
is
it.
a test to see if, because Tom had trouble with this. You got to go way back to the corner, like
Bottom
over by
left corner.
by Taylor Swift's left hip.
Why?
You got to hold it over there, like you got to hold that over there and turn it on.
Why?
That's not even
that's
the on
stupid.
button. The
Yeah,
on button's at the
stupid.
top.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Oh
Who-
man, he's having the same trouble Tom did. That's
That's
it.
dumb. That's
He did
dumb.
the same thing Tom did.
Yeah.
You just threw it.
Yep.
How's it going, Juicy?
We're a lot
live.
alike. Like him and I together is like a
Former
steel,
law partners.
like a steel cage death match. You know? Can you imagine being a law partner with Tom when we were starving? That was fun.
No.
No, there was no arguments. There's no yelling.
It's like Naked and Afraid. Like day 11, we haven't eaten anything but a minnow. Like that's what it was like most
There's
of
a
the time.
divorce client coming in,
But we were fully clothed most of the time. That's the only difference. That's the only difference.
and now look at you, Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law.
You dropped him real quick.
No, he dropped me. He became the mayor. And then-
And John had to like get married, have a new, a great law partner.
yes.
So,
You know, like I went through a sea of shit and came out smelling like a rose because my law partner's great.
well, yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's good at everything I'm not, and that's why
I think
we're a
she
good
she
team.
carries the team.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you should be. Let me ask you, because this is, by the way, just preview the show real quick. We've got John on till about 8:10, 8:15. Thank you, by the way, for coming in. I know you've got to get to court and the jail like you do every day.
This is like therapy, so yeah. I
That's
like
good
it.
for you.
Yeah.
And then, and the third segment, stick around because we've got LOCPod's Canadian correspondent
Yeah.
Jesse Hirsh coming on to talk about tariffs and some other stuff that's going up in Canada north of the border.
That's the futurist farmer or the farmer
You got it.
futurist. Yeah.
You got it. He's
Yeah.
coming back. Jesse Hirsh, we told him when there's Canadian news, we need to bring him in. He's coming in today in the third segment.
I
so
have a
that's gonna be
friend.
great.
I have a prosecutor friend that's Canadian. Whenever I meet with her, I'm just asking her what Canadians think, and she's got a lot. Like it's shocking. Like, and this is something that's been going on like since like when Trump first started
First
talking
time,
trash.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's like, she's like, you don't understand. We're all getting ready for war. Like everybody's got like they're sharpening.
That's what Tom said when he
Yes.
ran into that woman in Indianapolis.
Yes.
He's
No.
like, there's going to be a war.
She's like, everybody's like sharpening their swords in Canada, and I'm like,
That's all they have.
yeah.
The Mounties.
Yeah, like I'm eating B-dubs and they're fucking sharpening their swords. Like
just think
we
it's
should, like somebody should tell us these things.
It's
You
so
know?
ridiculous to
Yeah.
be taken on Canada, but that's a whole nother topic.
If I need to be sharpening things, people need to tell me. Like you know, like
You
that's
need
just
to-
all. That's
you
all
want a
I
heads
ask.
up?
That's all I
Just
ask.
give you a heads up.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
I'm looking forward to Jesse making sense of everything going on.
Agreed.
Because it's changing day to day.
Hour to hour.
Yeah,
And
hour
we're
to
gonna, we're going to talk about that. So in the third segment. But John, I want to address something with you because I know this kind of fits in your world down at the criminal courts. Is this whole like I don't even know if I would even call it a fight. It's almost like a made up fight where Rokita is calling out the Sheriff Martinez for like being a sanctuary county or a sanctuary jail.
Yeah.
What's the
Okay, so I mean, this is if you are trying to get people deported as a sheriff or as a jailer, you're going to do a pretty good job at it because when you have somebody come in that's booked and they don't have a social security number, instant red flag. I mean, you know who has a social security number and who doesn't. That's part of the whole booking process. And so when I first started practicing, I had a client who got convicted of a couple burglaries. He wasn't from the United States. You know, he gets convicted, he serves time, and he's released. He's released from the Indiana Department of Corrections. He doesn't have a citizenship. He doesn't have a social security
had
number.
nothing to do with Lake County Sheriff. It was all that's a state.
Yeah, so he goes and serves time, and then he gets released, and he gets out. But this same person, you know, his dad called me, and he's like, he's got deported. He got convicted of auto theft in Fort Wayne, and he got deported. So him and I were doing a little bit of digging. He's like, "Can you find out who did this or what happened?" And turned out the judge in Allen County had turned him in. He got convicted and he turned him in, and then ICE came and got him, and immigration came and got him. So somebody reported him. So if you have people reporting people, sometimes they'll come and get them, and sometimes they won't.
Right.
I mean, depending.
Well, it's like with extradition, right?
Yes.
Sometimes they'll come get them, sometimes they won't. If it's like a minor offense and you're down in Texas, Lake County's not going to trek down to Texas for like a theft charge.
You remember I had a client who he escaped from the transport van at McDonald's.
Yes.
You know, like he faked an
Remember
injury and
that?
jumped out the window.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was some news.
Yeah, that was good stuff. So that was a private transport company.
I remember that.
Because if Lake County doesn't want 2 officers to get paid to go to Colorado for a day and come back, and they can't find anybody, they'll hire this transport company. So, and they only have so much money to do it. It's just a lot of people and a lot of moving parts. So it's if somebody reports somebody and then somebody takes action to go detain that person, that's how somebody gets deported. And even when they report people, nothing still happens.
I mean, or sometimes they're released even on bond for an immigration hearing. So here's what Todd Rokita said yesterday. Eliminating another sanctuary jurisdiction from our state is a major win for the rule of law and for Hoosier taxpayers. We will continue our ongoing conversations with ICE and Lake County to ensure they are compliant with Indiana law. We do reserve our right at all times to enforce state law, even when it comes to the county sheriff. That sounds threatening.
Yeah.
Rokita said. This is, by the way, Lake County is not a sanctuary county and never has been designated as such by county officials. In fact, Indiana law prohibits local units of government and post-secondary educational institutions from offering immigrants sanctuary by limiting the assistance they provide to ICE. And then Sheriff Martinez said the Lake County Sheriff's Department routinely has cooperated with its federal law enforcement partners, so there was no course reversal, as Rokita claimed. I think that's interesting. And this is another thing I thought that was great. It's a quote from the sheriff. I just want to clear the air and ensure the residents of Lake County that the Lake County Sheriff's Department has always cooperated with local, state, and federal agencies to achieve our joint mission of making our local communities safe and secure for families and children. This cooperation has always existed and has not been the result of any action taken or threats by any state official from Indianapolis.
Okay,
it's pretty good
I
by the sheriff, I think.
It was a great statement and just his normal policy. And think about how a jail works. I want everybody to think about this. Okay, when you are getting out of the jail, or you get bonded out, or that you finish the sentence and you get released, the jail is looking at if you have any other holds in the system.
You have warrants for another county,
another state, Cook County,
or even locally, right?
Yeah, sure. And so if you don't have any holds,
they let you out.
You get out of jail.
That's
you
right.
post bond, you get out of jail. So if immigration doesn't have a hold on somebody who is illegal, they get out.
And that counts for a detainer, right? A detainer or a warrant from a judge.
All of it. And, let's say someone has a warrant in Florida. Lake County will say, hey, and they'll hold anybody for 15 days. You got 15 days to come get this person. We're not paying to house and feed your prisoner. You got 15 days.
And overcrowd our jail, right?
If you don't come, and sometimes they'll say, hey, we need about 15 more days where you hold them, and they all work together, and that's fine. But I just want to tell you the state of immigration and how things work. I had a client, and I think I told this story on LOCPod before. I'm not sure. I had a client who had got charged with some attempted murder charges here in Lake County. He's from Palestine. He was here illegally. He
legally or illegally?
Illegally. He tries to. So he has a warrant here in Lake County. He has a warrant in Cook County. He tried to sneak into Canada. Got caught. Canadians gave him back to the American authorities. He went to immigration court. They are like, well, where you lived in Palestine doesn't exist anymore. There's a war going on. You can leave.
He's like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean it doesn't exist anymore?
So they just let him walk back into America. Literally, like, go, you get out, go. And so he had warrants here in Lake County and in Cook County, and he just walked into my office one day, and I'm like, explain this. How are you even here? What happened? Did you escape? And he's like, no, I went to this. They let me go. And that was it. So he had warrants here. So their system is pretty intense. It's overcrowded. They'll let if you get caught here illegally, they'll let you stay on an ankle monitor and wait till
and that's been my experience, right? I've got a couple clients that have called, and I mean they're out of county, but where they have immigration status issues, and they get arrested, and they end up with like ICE will be like, okay, we know about you now. It's not a violent felony.
Sure.
We'll let you out on an ankle monitor and wait for your immigration hearing, which, by the way, is what it's been for. This isn't new.
I really want to find out what the statistics are, because if somebody gets released from the Indiana Department of Corrections and they don't have a hold and they don't have a social security number or citizenship status, does the DOC deport them from there? I don't think they do.
No,
they just.
I think they probably advise ICE that they've got these people, and then if ICE wants to come and grab them, I guess they can.
I would like to see those numbers and have a discussion with Rokita about that, because is the DOC in Indiana,
which he, by the way, has more control over. He's DOC, the prisons, because that's state, right, John, not county. The county jail is a lot different than going to the DOC.
Right. Yeah, and they have more controls and more resources than the county does.
I think this is interesting in the sense that, and the Times pointed this out in their article, Rokita made this allegation against Sheriff Martinez in mid-October, shocker, which is right before his election in November. It came amid a re-election campaign that saw the Attorney General trying to tie himself as closely as possible to the immigration policies of Republican President Trump. So I think to me, it just seems like the system works. Tom said this on the pod as well. He said, "Look, we are going to cooperate with our federal partners to arrest criminals and get them out of the country.
Yes,
that have immigration issues and that are also criminals." And that's what most local officials, state officials are doing. So this is kind of like just a much ado about nothing almost.
Have you seen the articles about immigration numbers in the Biden administration versus the Trump administration? The Trump, and then the Trump people are saying, well, there's way less people coming in because the borders are tight, and they're deporting less people because less people are trying to sneak into the country.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
I said that.
Yeah, you're telling everybody that they're coming, so people are hiding too. Like it's
Well, I mean, I guess I think I said this before. Trump's policies, I think, have had a deterrent effect, because the numbers at the border are significantly less as far as illegal crossings that we know about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I've had some people I've seen in the court system. They are illegal, and they're worried about getting convicted and deported, and then they just quit coming back to court. So, did they go back to Mexico?
Did they go back, or did they just go onto the shadows? Yeah. So I bet you're seeing that a lot, right, where people are not coming to court at all.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
a lot of warrants out there for people failing to appear.
Mm-hmm. And then you don't know where they're at. They're just not. They're not living where they used to.
Yep. John?
I was just thinking, Kevin, when you were saying about the numbers, the immigration numbers being really down since Trump has come in. True. Like, unbelievable turnaround.
Yes.
Why didn't, this is a topic where if the Democrats just did this, they could have won the election. Like, why didn't they stop
it is probably, John, it's probably one of the most frustrating things. It's like for 2 years, like in the third year of Biden's administration, he finally said, I'm going to tighten the border. I'm like, what in the world? Nobody wants people just flowing across the border illegally. Nobody. Right? And it seems like it's just red meat.
Somebody did.
It's red. Well, yeah, it's red meat for politics. And it's like, all you had to do was get tough on it. I don't know what they're afraid of. They certainly shouldn't be afraid of the Latin vote, since the Latin vote went with Trump on the immigration issue.
That's wild.
You have to keep, at some point, you have to keep people from coming here eventually, because there's going to be too many people. And two, what person, just show me out of 100 people, what people are going to say, oh, don't deport, violent
criminals,
convicted felons.
Right. Or let's let 10,000 people in a day at the border illegally.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to agree that that's a great idea?
All you have to say is, listen, if you, just like any other country in the whole world, if you come here and you're here illegally and you get convicted of a felony, you got to go.
Wouldn't you think that if you're in, I don't know, Germany as an American and you commit a felony, do you think they're going to let you stay?
Yeah, like in Singapore, you get caned for spray painting, and then you got to, and then you
probably spitting. I think you get caned.
Yeah, I cannot live there. So some people like to get caned. That's probably why they go there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would like to know.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if there was somebody that was like, I like to get caned. I'm going to Singapore and spitting on the subway.
I know a fellow like that. Yeah.
Kevin, what T-shirt is that? Because that collar is crisp and new, man. That looks
right here.
Yeah, look at that. Dead and Company.
Take it off.
Dead and Co.
Yeah.
Dead and Company LA show, I think, John. You're there with me?
If you're watching this at home, I really thought this was like a bit, and you were going to like Hulk Hogan that shit.
Oh.
That would have been amazing. Yes.
It would not look
Yes,
good
it
on
would.
me.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
But
you have lesions of followers.
I tend to not
From the caning.
And
from the
lesions.
caning
From
and
caning.
lesions
Whatever.
from caning.
Lesions.
I tend to not wear dead shirts when Tom's here because I don't want to. It looks ridiculous.
you
We
don't wanna
both
steal
have
his
dead
thunder.
shirts. Well, if we both have dead shirts on, it's ridiculous.
Legions and lesions. That might be
Legions of lesions.
Legion. That would be a lot of. That's a lot of lesions.
Did you ever see Philadelphia with Tom Hanks, the lawyer?
Oh.
Yeah.
legions.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. This is another while we have John here, criminal attorney extraordinaire
Thank you.
in the studio. This is another update story. We got 2 update stories. This one from season 11, episode 9.
Oh.
So that's probably 4 months ago. But
Crazy.
Yeah.
this you may recall if you're a LOCPod fanatic like
And a
I know
human,
many of
and
you
a
are,
human.
and a human, right? That there were 3 gentlemen that died, or maybe it was two guys or 3 guys
Three.
that died,
Three.
and were found in the cold in Kansas City after watching a Chiefs game in January at their buddy's house.
Yes.
And it was it was weird. Everybody suspected drug use, right, John?
Well, there was they expected foul play or drug use because a guy had a bunch of people over to watch a Chiefs game, and then 3 of the people at the party were missing, and then they were found dead in his backyard. All 3 of them were croaked in his
And
backyard.
the guy said he was sleeping,
Right.
Yeah,
for
and-
like 2 days or something.
Yeah, and so he
Right?
He was
Oops.
like I had no idea they were dead in the backyard. I got drunk.
Yes.
And if you have a house party and there's 3 dead people in your backyard, theoretically you may not know. It's in the winter.
I mean, it's possible.
It's cold in the winter. It's not like
Or
you're
maybe
playing.
you just always go out the front door and your
For sure.
car's on the street.
Yeah, some people like to use the front door. Some people like to use the back door.
John,
There's another title.
Yeah.
I was going to say a truer thing has never been said.
That's true.
Here on LOCPod.
So what happened was
door.
they've been investigating this, and this is something that occurred in January of 2024.
Yes.
So they've been investigating this for over a year.
And what do we got?
So turns out all 3 of them died of fentanyl poisoning, fentanyl overdoses.
Fentanyl and cocaine, right?
Fentanyl and cocaine, yeah. So somebody sold them some cocaine that had fentanyl in it, and
It's
they
a
just
hell of a drug.
Which one?
Cocaine.
Oh, Jill.
no, she's quoting Rick James.
Come on.
Oh,
Chappelle Show. Get with it, Kevin.
thank you.
You need to watch
You're
that.
so
Kevin.
uncool.
No, that's not true,
That's a
Kevin. You
given.
just- So, who's going to pay Kevin to watch the Chappelle Show?
You
he's
really
a
haven't
billable
seen
hour
it?
guy. He's
No.
a billable hour guy.
No,
Okay.
I'm a contingent fee guy. I'm both.
So all 3 of them, a year later, they finally found out. Well, obviously, they probably knew, 12 weeks after this that they died of fentanyl overdose, and they've been doing an investigation, and now they end up charging the homeowner and his
friend.
Yeah, the friend.
That wasn't
the
a significant
sleepy friend.
other. It was like another dude that maybe allegedly dealt the fentanyl to the guy. Because the weird thing about it is, and by the way, I've seen Dave Chappelle in concert. So at least I got that going for me.
There you go.
Concert. Did he sing?
No, well, what do you call it? His show. All right.
His comedy show.
They charged the guy, and they also said the homeowner that had the 3 guys dead in his backyard, that he had his DNA all over the bag of white substance. And what? So, John,
Okay,
how do you convict the guy of?
Well, this is how that works. You take something that has transfer DNA. Like let's say that we shake hands,
Okay.
and then I touch my pen.
Okay.
And they're like, well, did Kevin touch his pen? And so they do a DNA test, and they look at DNA. There's 2 sets of DNA on the pen, but predominantly more my DNA on the pen than yours. So
They
say,
say,
that's
John's pen.
That's John's pen. With Kevin touched it, had it for a second, or there was transfer DNA. Like they
Do they
shook
do that
hands,
with a gun a
or
lot?
we did a bro hug. It happens a bunch with guns
Okay.
all the time. And think about a gun. It's covered in DNA. People are shove it in and out of their underwear in the
Waistband or
front,
whatever,
or they're
yeah. stick
it in their butt crack in the back. There's
Yep.
just the
Seems
grip
unsafe.
just takes off dead skin cells off your hand. It's just a great place to find DNA. So the baggies had the 2 people they charged. A majority of their DNA was on the baggies, so they knew that these people had it. They was in their pockets. They were holding it, and then they gave it to somebody, and they used it, and then they croaked.
Yeah, they say that Willis, who's the homeowner, is now one of 2 people accused of supplying the drugs that led to the trio's death. Willis and Ivory Carson were each charged with distribution of a controlled substance and 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The probable cause statement alleges that Mr. Willis, that's the homeowner again, was determined to be the major contributor of the DNA found in that bag. So that's kind of what you were talking about, John. And the other bag contained fentanyl, and the probable cause statement alleges that Mr. Carson was determined to be the major contributor of DNA in that bag. So
there's another piece of evidence, too. There was a guy who was at the house partying. He said he left when they just had rolled out a bunch of cocaine, and he saw like a plate with a bunch of cocaine.
He's
on
like,
it.
I'm out.
He's like, this is
this
my,
is the time for
this
me
is
to
my
go home.
cue
My
to
wife's
go.
calling. I'm headed home.
Yeah.
Who's living like this?
Yeah, by the
at
way.
a football party.
Yeah, just, hey, Chiefs Chargers, you guys ready to roll out the cocaine and fentanyl?
It's as bizarre as this story is. It's super sad because why are you messing around with everything's laced today, man? It's all you hear about is people dying from this stuff.
You were playing literally Russian roulette with your life if you're just going to try some drugs, because everything is cut with fentanyl. Even pressed pills that look like typical prescription drugs have fentanyl in it. People are selling it, and then people die.
And it's Canada's fault that this
That's
fentanyl
right.
is getting
That's
over here.
a good segue to this
Yes.
next story.
It is.
We're
which we're
professional
gonna
here.
Yeah.
But before we leave the story, I just want to ask John real quick. So, like, if according to this witness, he said there was a large plate of cocaine allegedly supplied by Mr. Willis that everyone was using when he took off.
Yeah.
What do you think the chances of the homeowner being convicted of involuntary manslaughter is? Because what I mean, like,
Did you read what the guy said right before he left when they brought out the cocaine? He said, "What are you talking about, Willis?" Just kidding.
now
Okay.
that's different strokes.
That's okay.
Thank you.
That is.
For different folks.
Kevin's on a roll today, boy. Yeah,
Now that I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. What were you doing in
What
that
you talking about,
Grateful
Willis?
Dead, that Grateful Dead shirt this morning, Kevin?
And you know what? Kevin said he wouldn't
Benson
be
also
good.
come out of that show.
Yes.
There was a trivia night recently. Kevin's like, I wouldn't be good at TV and
I would be
trivia.
terrible.
You're nailing it right now.
Yeah, but it was 2010s, John. I was like just
That's true.
in my office during the 2010s.
2010, what was that, like
mostly.
Saved by the
Okay,
Bell?
so let's break down these charges.
Oh, I'm all over that.
Break them down, John.
Mr. Willis got charged with one count, or one of the counts is involuntary manslaughter.
3.
Well, yeah, but I
counts.
mean one of the counts
Sure.
per person. So involuntary manslaughter is your classic case of involuntary manslaughter. Is some dude talks shit to me. I say, let's go outside. I pop him in the eye. He falls back,
down.
hits his head, and bleeds to death in the parking lot. In Indiana, that's involuntary manslaughter. You meant to beat somebody's ass. You didn't mean to kill him, but they died. So that's 1 to 6 in the state of Indiana.
Okay.
So
That's not bad.
Yeah, that might be worth it, honestly.
John's like, I'll take that for killing some dude I didn't like.
dude, you
But didn't
love
mean
your
to
job
kill.
with the city,
Didn't mean
and
to
you know, you would.
But I hit him in the head, but he fell over. John, what about like a
You could
drunk
work remotely,
a drunk
Baz, though.
driving
You could
death?
work
Is
out
that,
of prison.
Oh, sorry, Jill. What did
that?
Jill say?
I said
I
you
could work remotely.
You could work
just
me out of prison. It's fine.
John's working remotely again.
Mark, can you
For
imagine
like the
being
last year?
Can you imagine being in prison for 3 years and you only have a cell phone like half the time because they're expensive
No!
and then the guards take them?
I would
No.
go out
I
of
don't
his
see.
mind.
Vesmar's not sticking his cell phone in his ass. To try
No,
to keep it from the
that's
guards.
it's called
So,
a
yeah.
jail wallet. We
Yeah,
learned that from
yes.
you.
Yeah. Yes.
You're the one who informed us about these
I
things.
mean, the jail wallet's a great place to hide. Women are lucky.
Cell
they have 2
phones.
jail wallets. We only get one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is the title of the show. Did you know that women have 2 jail wallets? John Cantrell.
I'm just stating
off the
facts.
rails.
I'm just stating facts.
Kristen's smiling right now.
Maybe.
So listening.
No.
No. Janet and Kristen are not listening.
My kids
trust
are in the
me.
car. She would not let them listen to the show. Like snippets, just snippets. So, I mean, that's involuntary manslaughter. You were meant to party with somebody and they died. So,
Yep.
yeah, you didn't mean for them to die, but they did.
But wouldn't you have to prove that he had something to do with supplying? And they're going to do that through the DNA. They're
the
saying
the
right?
threshold for supplying is really
is,
really low.
All right.
So I mean, the dude's cooked. He's getting a plea for 3 bodies. He killed 3 of his friends, and
How much cocaine would you say would warrant a large plate of cocaine, like they said? Like, how much is that?
To me, I feel like it was a dinner plate. Like in my mind, that's what I picture: a big dinner plate, just cocaine.
Not like a platter.
so-
Is it a mirror? I feel like if
Not a
you're going to
dessert
do
plate.
lines, it has to be on a mirror, right?
Oh, well, I don't think so.
No.
There aren't a lot of mirrored tables around, John.
so I don't get down like that. But they have if you have
But if you did.
if you have 1 gram of cocaine, I know a lot about drugs. If you have 1 gram of cocaine, it's a pack of sugar. Because I
is that true?
Yes, I argue with police because I say you busted this confidential informant. he's looking at 6 years in prison. You want him to go set somebody up. What did you do to make sure this confidential informant didn't have drugs on him before he went into the house? Because I can hide a pack of sugar on a lot of places on my body.
Did you check his jail wallet?
Yeah. Did you? You know, and then I always set cops up, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. But I always set them up. They're like,
inside info.
Did you? You know, because you talk to confidential informants when you're deposing them. Talk about what they did beforehand and if they were searched. You know, I'm like, did you check the person's underwear? Like, no confidential informant is going to allow me to check their underwear. I'm like, these people in and out of jail, they get their butthole searched all the time, so don't act like it's that invasive.
So in other words, to them, it's not a big deal.
Right. It's Tuesday. So the real issue is they don't check their socks or their shoes. Like, ooh, it's too invasive to check somebody's socks. How hard it would be to hide a pack of sugar.
Make sure they don't have a pack of sugar
sock.
there.
Yes, because they're acting like they got drugs in that house, but you don't really know because you didn't even check these people. So, you're talking about how many packs of sugar would it take to fill
like
up
a bad
plate.
joke. How many packs of
That's
sugar?
A lot.
Yeah,
That is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So
All right.
they were partying pretty intensely.
Let's do some ads. Come back because we only have John till 8:10. He's got to get to court, and we don't want to make him late for his clients.
Thank you.
And we've got some really good, interesting Trump news in the next segment before we hit our Canadian correspondent in the third segment after John takes off. So let's do some ads. Powering Indiana, Lake County. Our premier and studio sponsor. Powering Indiana Lake County is your source for the region's most trusted electricians. At Powering Indiana Lake County, we set the standard for excellence in electrical work. As IBEW Local 697 electrical contractors, we ensure safety, reliability, and quality for Northwest Indiana businesses and homes alike. But our mission goes beyond the job site. We're creating a brighter future for the region we proudly serve. Powering Indiana Lake County, bringing excellence to the job, creating a brighter future for our community. Find the right electrical contractor at poweringindiana.org.
Cantrell and Cantrell.
Who's that?
That's me and my wife, Kristen. I'm not going to read this ad because I just had a client who I interviewed. He got into an accident, and he's like, well, I'm going to hire you guys or Top Dog. And I'm like, Top Dog, that's the billboard lawyer.
Yes.
Or Lerner. I'm like,
that's annoying.
These people are attorneys. They're not even licensed in Indiana. They're up on a billboard, so you should hire them. Don't you want region lawyers that know region
Bingo.
judges,
I'm with
region
you, John.
courtrooms, region opposing counsels? We
Amen.
scout these people and watch them every day. You can call Cantrell and Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW or call Kevin Smith at Smith-Sursick, 219-933-7600. I know his number because that's how many times I tell people to call him.
Wow.
Thank you, John.
That was
That was
insane.
a freebie, Kevin.
That was
Yeah,
nice. Thank you.
freebie.
And we have to mention
put it on
you
your tab.
and your wife, Kristen, make a great team.
Yes, and we're waiting
BetterCallCantrell.com.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, John.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard in Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia, de todo corazón.
Calumet Brewing Busch Light, the coldest and smoothest light lager around, is the second fastest growing beer in the country, and we're serious about cracking a cold one and heading for the mountains. We get excited about 30 packs in a cooler, reeling in a big fish, supporting the farming community, hunting season, and cranking up some country music. As the official beer of NASCAR and the professional bull riders, Busch Light is always cold and smooth and waiting for you. Head over to Cal Brew or the Busch Light websites and social media pages for details on this great family of beers. Enjoy a Busch Light with beers and cheers responsibly.
Prestmer Insurance Agency. For decades, the Ron J. Prestmer Insurance Agency has been located right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. The Prestmer Agency specializes in a wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much, much more. The Prestmer Agency serves thousands of people and businesses throughout the Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outdoor patio. We need to update that. Serving its award-winning
Coming
craft
up.
beer.
They'll be on the patio soon enough.
Oh, yeah.
And a chef-driven food menu and craft cocktails on draft. Their brewing equipment and production facility offer a unique backdrop for events like bridal showers, reunions, or corporate parties. With their new food truck, they can cater to your corporate and private events off-site, just off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Discover more at bywaybrewing.beer.
All right, thanks to our sponsors, including our studio sponsor, Power in Indiana Lake County, even though we're not lit up today.
I am.
Oh, damn. All right.
It's Friday.
Lit.
Freaky Friday on LOCPod.
Look, who knows what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes before you have to leave.
Well, let's talk faster.
All right. So, John, how long did you make, as a Republican, how long did you make it through President Trump's 90-minute speech?
About
plus?
45 minutes, about half.
Halfway.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Trooper.
Did you get to see the insanity of Representative Al Green disrupting President Trump's speech?
I did.
So-
And we have it here.
Okay, so before we do it, let's just back it up a second. Representative Al Green from Texas, who's been around for 20 years, member of the Congressional Black Caucus, is a defender of Medicaid for many years, was very concerned, apparently, about President Trump cutting Medicaid. And so this is what he did during this, I guess we'll call it. Are we calling it a State of the Union address?
No.
Okay, this is just a joint session of
status
update by the president.
Small business optimism saw its single largest 1-month gain ever recorded.
Look at
41 point.
Get him out of
I
here.
mean, what is
What a douche.
Vance
go-
is a
let's back up
total
to that.
douche.
Month
Look at
gain ever recorded. A 40
Rule of law Vance right
Yeah,
there.
rule of law Vance with his tie too
point
short.
jump.
See when he stood up, his tie's too short. Oh, Speaker Johnson.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning.
Oh, he's got a cane.
Yeah,
And he has a cane.
that's the gist of it.
Like,
That went on for a while.
Johnson stood up. If you don't know what you should say when you're yelling at people to sit down and be quiet and you have to read it off a piece of paper, that's pretty embarrassing, you know? Like, he's trying to act like a hard ass, but he's looking exactly what they told him to say when stuff gets out of pocket today.
Out of all the outfits, though, I just want to say this. Johnson looks the best. I like Johnson's suit. I like his tie. And I think Vance looks the worst. President looks good, too. I like his tie.
There's something not right with Vance's suit.
No, it's like
It's
tight on
too
him,
tight.
and his shirt's wrinkly. It's not buttoned, by the way. He doesn't have his suit coat button, and his tie's short. Look how
Pants
far
are
it is above the
smidged.
belt.
Yeah,
That's a mistake.
Maybe those are low-rise pants. We don't know that.
Yes.
Fashion police here.
Brooks
John.
Brothers, Kevin Smith.
That's a mistake. Well, actually, it happens to me sometimes, but that's because I got a big gut.
Okay, listen to this, guys. You think that he's messing with this, but when you're in trial with Kevin, you suit up like he's your drill sergeant. Your tie better be the right length, and you better
You're
not
not
look
kidding.
stupid. Yeah, because you're gonna hear it.
And this
Yeah.
guy, by the way, like think about it. Vance is being seen every moment of this speech, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know he started yelling. Al Green started
Yeah, he did.
yelling, but. If you have time, you need to look at all the different signs that different Democrats were holding up. They were little signs that
Yeah.
they made. Some were handwritten signs.
Yeah.
Some were on whiteboard. Like,
Looked like their kid wrote them.
yeah, it was so embarrassing. Like this silent protest, and you know,
So dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is what the Dems have now, just little signs.
Silent signs. I mean,
Silence-
that's what you got going for you?
I want to give you this quote that
So embarrassing.
John Stewart said, and I thought it was pretty hilarious. This is what John Stewart said about all
Love
these
Jon
little
Stewart.
signs that they made. He said, "Fun fact: Democrats are wearing pink tonight as a symbolic protest against people who want them to do something meaningful." I mean, like I read that and I was like, "That's fucking exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, it's like-
this is what you guys are doing. We elect you, and you're writing something on a whiteboard that literally nobody can see other than press members that are taking pictures of you to put on the internet to make fun of you."
It's a rudderless boat right now. We got to get our shit together. And so anyway, the fallout after Representative Green was escorted out was that there was a censure, 224 to 198, with 10 Democrats joining all the Republicans. The Democrats that did vote to censure Representative Green were all moderates. And the censure, he was called down. Yeah, by the way, I think that's appropriate.
Hey, K-Chan, I got to roll out of here.
Okay,
and,
yes.
And I know that you like to talk a lot of trash about Marjorie Taylor Greene and
Yes.
Lauren Boebert, so I'm going to let you go to town on these people.
All right, you
I
gotta roll?
out. Thank you for having me, y'all.
Thank
Go to
you
town
for
on
coming,
Kevin.
John. And we're gonna continue on. JRC's got to get down to the court and the jail every day.
Go to town on Marjorie,
Thanks, John.
Kevin.
Yeah. So, well, I'm no, thank you, but
No?
I think
What about Boebert?
Boebert's hotter than Marjorie. I think that's a given in my to me.
You can go to town on both.
Well, Kid Rock's got that taken care of on Boebert right now.
Yeah, he's got
but
that locked
He's
down.
got it on
Wait,
lockdown.
what?
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Heard?
Oh, well.
Did we cover this?
Wait a minute.
I obviously wasn't listening if we did.
This could rank higher than me not knowing that was a Chappelle reference.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
but
this
no
is
one
more
gives a
recent.
shit about
All right, so
Rock.
before we go to Canada in a little bit, I do want to finish this up. So Representative Green was censured. They all went. And by the way, when you're censured, you have to come down to the well of the House, which is in front of the Speaker's chamber to be censured. Or Speaker's desk.
That's what it's called.
To be censured. The well? Yeah, it's like well of a courtroom, right? So that's like in front of the judges area. I think there's a well of the House. And he was censured. There was a lot of people that came around him as he was being censured, including some members of the Black Caucus, which started singing We Shall Overcome, which I'm not sure. I guess it is what it is.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I thought the history of censuring was interesting. There's been 28 people censured in the House. He's number 28. It's the first censuring was in 1832 when someone insulted the Speaker. It's interesting. They've also been censured for offenses such as using unparliamentary language in the floor debate, corruption, and even committing assault on the House floor.
What?
Yes. The last House member to be censured was another progressive Black Caucus member when Representative Bowman pulled the fire alarm. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then a month earlier than that, Representative Tlaib from Michigan was also censured because of comments she made about the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel. Last Republican to be censured was Representative Paul Gosar of Arizona in 21 after he posted an animated video that depicted him killing Representative AOC and
remember that.
President Joe Biden.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
impressive.
Reason.
Yeah, I love AOC.
You know what, though? Like, this all seems crazy.
Yeah. But wait a minute,
Okay.
John. Can we do Boebert?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to forget. The reason I brought up the last Republican to be censured is because in the House, not that long ago, 2 years ago, in fact, in 2022, we had these two goofballs, and here's a photo of them, Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, screaming at the president. He was talking about his son, Beau, that had passed away as a veteran. They yelled out, "Build the wall," when he was talking about the immigration issues at the border. And they also turned their back on President Biden when he walked in the chamber. And at the time, I thought it was interesting because Senator Thune from South Dakota, who's now the leader of the Senate, kind of basically said, listen, what do we say here? He said he condemned those antics and said, I don't think there's any place for that. It's inappropriate. A State of the Union speech, whether you agree with the president or not, is an opportunity to show the American people the respect we have for the office. And I agree with that. I mean, I don't think there's place for what they did. Maybe they should have been censured, but it didn't happen, or what Representative Green did. I mean, I get it. You feel strongly about an issue, but come on.
Yeah.
So
Especially going on for like minutes. Like Al Green just wouldn't sit down.
Well, yeah, like MTG and Boebert did it like 3 times. It's like same. It's the same BS.
Well, remember this one? So this was this is different than this.
Is that Johnson kind of sitting?
Yeah, this was before he was
House Speaker. Yeah,
yeah. This was one of Biden's State of the Union, but here's I almost forgot about this little nugget. This is MTG in like her pimp outfit. You remember the
Contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy
is she
of the
wearing?
proposal.
I don't know. It's awesome.
Fucking
wearing like
Real
a white-
Housewives.
That means Congress doesn't vote.
Look at her.
Well,
What
I'm
is she
glad to see it.
wearing?
No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion. It means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. But it's being proposed.
Oh my God! Look at her.
Is she married
something.
to a drug lord?
It's
No,
like
she's
the,
married to that reporter that asked the really dumb question in the Oval Office.
Is
Not
he a
married,
drug lord?
boyfriend. Maybe.
It's like the Seinfeld episode of Kramer and his
Yeah.
Technicolor dream
Yes.
coat.
So what John was alluding to earlier, if you thought this was crazy, let's head over across the pond and then some to Eastern Europe and Serbia.
This just happened.
And this is on the Serbian basically C-SPAN channel, watching Parliament. They're arguing over the resignation of the Prime Minister because 15 people were killed in a railway station that collapsed. And
like you thought we had problems in our halls?
this is on the floor in Belgrade.
This is wild.
So if you can't see this, what's happening is there's a little scuffle, and then some dude throws some smoke, but nobody seems to bother or notice. And then there's like black smoke. There's Serbian flags. And then all of a sudden, it's just a free-for-all. Then someone's throwing another smoke bomb. They're throwing it back. They're throwing it at each other. John, go to like 140.
Oh, like that's when you can't even see.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Watch this. This is just... You can see if you're just listening to this, there are smoke bombs being thrown from either end of the parliamentary room to the point where you can't see. And there's a bunch of guys hanging around.
A bunch? The whole place is filled with people just like this is normal.
Yeah, we made it through the Balkan War. This is just smoke bombs in Parliament.
That just looks like a fun party.
I'd say a couple weeks from now, this could be D.C.
I mean,
there's the fire alarm.
We finally got some sound here.
I respect that they color coded to their
flag colors.
Yeah.
Some good. Well, I don't know if black is part of it, but
I mean, black's universal.
That's true.
Seriously, how many months away are we from
weeks, John? Days.
Like Al Green standing up with his cane to this.
Let's stay together.
All right. Well, listen. Let's take a break. We're going to read some ads. Jill, you start, and John's going to get our Canadian correspondent, LOCPod's very own Jesse Hirsh.
All right.
Are you facing legal challenges and don't know where to turn? Look no further than Kuklakis Law, your trusted source for legal advice in Indiana and Illinois. Struggling with immigration paperwork? Need a visa green card? Or help with naturalization? Kuklakis Law is here to guide you every step of the way. Our attorneys have the experience to guide you through the complex processes of family immigration, humanitarian relief, and naturalization with ease. Don't face immigration challenges alone. Call Kuklakis Law at 219-671-6347 to schedule a free consultation. Hablamos Español.
Rogers Roofing. When you want the best for your home and family, trust the best in the business, Rogers Roofing. Rogers Roofing has transformed homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland for more than 55 years, providing quality roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the best warranties in the industry. To learn more and to schedule your free consultation and get on the spring schedule, visit rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 today. That's Rogers Roofing, 933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
MCR Partners is your one-stop destination for top-notch expertise in economic development, finance, and planning. With a dedicated team geared up to tackle your projects head-on, they're your go-to comprehensive solution providers. Dive into the world of economic development with MCR Partners and let them guide you through the maze of opportunities. Stay in the loop and connected by checking out their website at mcrpartnersllc.com. For tailored assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to Matt Reardon at 219-741-9511.
Misprint Printing. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltensberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing, always on time within budget. Conveniently located in Munster and Hammond, Misprint is your partner for creating impactful visual solutions using the latest innovation and technology. Visit them at misprintusa.com to bring your vision to life today. Also saw Rick just recently at State of the City, looking good in a suit and tie.
He came to visit me on Monday.
Look at that.
Look, he's everywhere.
He sure is.
Throw that metal business card, though.
Oh, I will do that. Let's do that real quick. We can't forget Misprint.
Bam.
All right.
Frankie V's no need to dress up. It's a casual place. Bring the whole family. We have plenty of space. A hidden gem in Hammond. You don't have to drive far. Delicious food, great service, and yes, a full bar. Try our homemade pizza chips, Italian beef, sausage, marinara, and more. We have delicious pizza, pasta, and Italian foods galore. Don't go where they don't remember you. It's just not the same. Come to Frankie V's where everyone really knows your name. Visit us today at thefrankiev's.com for daily specials, full menu, and hours.
Thanks to our sponsors, including our studio sponsor, Powering Indiana, Lake County, and another warm welcome to our Canadian ambassador up north, LOCPod's Canadian ambassador, LOCPod's Canadian correspondent, Jesse Hirsh, who, of course, we had on earlier in the season, and we promised him, I don't know if he was excited about it, but we said, we're bringing you back if there's Canadian news. And, of course, thinking to ourselves, come on, is there really a lot of Canada, American news going on that we're going to have to worry about as we move forward into 2025? And lo and behold, of course there is. And here's Jesse. Jesse, welcome back to LOCPod.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here and happy to be your Canadian ambassador.
We appreciate that because we need one the way things are going right now. And remember, just to intro Jesse, futurist, farmer, and media technology researcher. And since we've been on last time, you started a new podcast. And for some reason, to me, I'm like, I wonder if LOCPod gave Jesse like a little idea, like I gotta do something more political here, and I'm gonna do something up in Canada. It's called Red Tory. Tell us a little bit about it.
You're not wrong. In fact, the partner, a friend of mine I'm doing it with, I spoke to him right after I was on with you guys. And I said, I heard this great American podcast, Left of Center. We need to do a political podcast.
Nice.
Did you really say great, though?
I did say great. No lie. And he's a former pollster. I mean, former in the sense of retired, but he still dabbles in the game. So it's a combination of kind of media analysis, public opinion analysis, but also as part of why I love being here to kind of bridge the divide between Canadians and Americans so we start talking to each other more and appreciate our differences so we can find more commonality.
I got to tell you, I never really felt that there was a divide, but President Trump seems to think there is, and maybe President Trudeau does as well. But I think by the way, I just want to make sure we do plug it. It's called Red Tory, right? And what's kind of the where can we find it? And if people want to like check out what you're up to up in Canada.
It's on all the audio podcast platforms. It's on YouTube, and it's on red-tory.com on the web.
All right. And the latest, by the way,
Putting it in chat right now.
The latest episode is entitled Canada's Defense Dilemma, From Militarization to Civic Engagement. So I guess that goes to like, are the Mounties sharpening their swords and getting ready to take us on, or is it just kind of like, hey, we're still friends with Americans, we're not getting ready for war just yet?
On the contrary, I think Canada has never been as militant, never been as mobilized, never been as proud of itself as it is now. And unfortunately, I think we're at the peak, right? This is the moment where everyone feels fresh and they don't realize they're picking a fight with a 900-pound gorilla. But it's partly because we're in hockey season, and it was that Canada-America hockey game that I think was.
They booed the American anthem, and there was 3 fights in 9 seconds.
Well, and not just that, but Wayne Gretzky, who used to be the great one, he's now the forgotten one. He's now the
number 2
one. Exactly.
Ovechkin's going to take him over. A Russian.
Well, that's the conspiracy here. How much is Trump's embrace of Gretzky part of a Russian conspiracy to allow Ovechkin to become the great one? I digress, but Canada does seem to be really upset right now.
So what do you make of? So I really do appreciate you being on, because I mean we do need this perspective, because obviously our news is all filtered just with the American viewpoint. So one of the things that President Trump said recently, and we'll get into the tariff back and forth in a bit, is that like he believes that Trudeau is using the tariff argument to kind of hold off elections or maybe run again. What do you think?
I think that's telling you that Trump plans to interfere as well as Elon Musk in the upcoming Canadian election, because here's what Trump knows, but he's not disclosing. This coming Monday, the Canadian election is going to be called. It's being called ahead of schedule, and this is why, until it's actually called, there's no official date. It will then be 6 weeks. Voting day will be 6 weeks after that point. That's it. So it is going to be a fast campaign. Trudeau is out. He has resigned. On Sunday, a new leader of the Liberal Party will be elected. It's going to be this guy, Mark Carney, former central banker. He will be sworn in as prime minister on Monday.
Whoa.
And he will call the election that day.
And will he be running as well?
He will be running. He will be the candidate for prime minister. It's his to lose because he's basically running against Trump. Right? On a symbolic level, this is kind of the Trump election. And that's why they're doing it fast, because it allows Trudeau is unpopular. Like, there is no way, if Trudeau stayed on, tariffs or otherwise, there's no way he'd win. That's why he voluntarily stepped down. And Mark Carney, who's had no connection with the government, so they're hoping it's a fresh start, right? They're hoping this is kind of like Biden and Kamala changing hands at the last minute, and that this will be enough, that the boogeyman of Trump will be enough to help them win. But I say all bets are off. Nobody knows what the outcome's going to be. And I think Trump's post indicates that he's going to be active.
Interesting.
On the media level in commenting the same way that Musk with X is going to be active in really playing a role in how this election plays out.
So from what and from what little I've been reading about the Canadian election, it seemed that like maybe before Trump was elected, a lot of the Canadian conservatives were saying like, we need this brand. We want to be with Trump. And then all of a sudden he attacked Canada and said they're going to be the 51st state, and they're like, kind of backtracked. So they're like, well, I don't like him as much as I used to. But so I'm just curious, do you think who's going to run on the conservative side? Will there be third, fourth, fifth party candidates? And where do you think you said it's Carney's to lose as the Liberal. Are the conservatives going to put forth somebody in particular? And what do you think the chances are?
So that's why Carney's calling the election so fast, because he doesn't want to give the conservatives a chance to make any changes. Their leader is this guy, Pierre Poilievre. And to your point, before Trump started picking on the country, he was going to be the next prime minister. He was so high in the polls, not just because he was the anti-Trudeau guy, but because he was MAGA, because he was make Canada great again.
Okay.
Like he was very much riffing off that same vibe. But Trump sabotaged him, right? Trump's totally changed the game. And so to your point about multiple parties, like we do have a lot of parties.
Yeah.
And right now, and it's not clear if they'll pull this off by Monday, but right now, all the non-conservative parties are working on a deal to basically have a cooperation agreement
with Carney
to make sure that Poilievre doesn't win.
Oh, and where's Poilievre from?
He is, even though he has a French last name, he's from Eastern Ontario.
Okay.
So he is an Anglophone, and he's not at all popular in Quebec. You know, the joke that Canadians keep making amongst ourselves is that
I can tell.
If we became the 51st state, you're going to have the Bloc Québécois in Congress, right? You're going to have Congress people who are not Republicans, who are not Democrats, who are part of the Bloc Québécois. And what if they become the third party in America? What if people in Louisiana start going, yeah, I prefer the Bloc Québécois?
All of a sudden, that would be awesome. We need a third French. We need a French contingent too. We've got the Bloc Québécois along with the people, the Cajuns. In Louisiana.
Yeah, it would be a powerful force, right? So, again, this is where I keep saying all bets are off.
Wow.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. I still think that Poilievre and the Conservatives, they have an excellent chance at winning.
Okay.
And the reason they have an excellent chance at winning is Canada, a lot like America, has a huge urban-rural divide, right? The difference between politics in the cities and politics in the farming in the country is completely different. And Poilievre has successfully captured the rural vote. He's
going to get all that.
Almost certainly. And with maybe some exceptions because of this tariff stuff, because tariffs are impacting farmers. But I think for the most part, the rural Canada is never going to vote Liberal. They're never going to vote for a central banker. They're never going to kind of subscribe to that city perspective. And that's where I think it's anyone's game. And that's where if Trump and Elon Musk do enter Canadian politics and shoot their mouths off and say crazy things, it's going to be a factor.
And Elon went to a Canadian university, I think, didn't he? Queen's College, right?
Yeah.
So.
And he does have a lot of fans in Canada in spite of his latest insanity. So there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, I mean, John and I were talking yesterday about the ripping up of the Starlink contract by the guy.
Yeah, I want to circle back to that. So I want to circle back to the tariffs and what you said about, Jesse, about Canada never feeling more mobilized than ever. Okay, so this is as we understand it this morning. So Trump is enacting these tariffs. Canada responds with tariffs. Trump flips as of last night or something, and there's not going to be tariffs on a lot of things. But from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Canada's tariffs are still in place. And when talking about the Starlink contract, Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, he's going to tariff electricity to
Buffalo or
New York, Michigan, a couple other things, and those are going to stay in place. Is this accurate?
100%. And this
so you guys are now on the offense.
Yeah. This
what just happened?
What is going on?
In hockey terms, this is forechecking. In basketball terms, this is a full court press. And this is because once you upset Canadians, they don't back down. And it's worth taking
See the
a
fight
moment.
we picked, John?
It's worth taking a moment to talk about Doug Ford, because Doug Ford, who just won an election, so he did the same thing the feds did.
What is his position? Is he like like what we would call like a governor? Okay,
yeah,
he's like the governor of Ontario.
So
okay,
and against Trudeau's politics, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is wild.
Very right wing, and he just won a snap election. So he just called an election 5 weeks ago, and on the provincial level, it's only 4 weeks.
Oh,
so
wow.
we had a 4-week election, which he won, and it was him against Trump. Voters didn't even know the names of the other leaders running in the election, right? And he is, worth pointing out, he's Rob Ford's older brother. Rob Ford, the crack-smoking mayor of Toronto.
Oh,
he was awesome.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
He
Who
was
would
phenomenal.
still be mayor today
Yeah.
had he not died of stomach cancer. Like, he was very popular.
Wow.
He was
Because
awesome.
He and his brother are retail politicians. Like, everybody has their phone number. They will answer the phone, and they will help the voter with whatever problem they have.
Kind of like Mayor Tom. He's a retail politician. Yeah, absolutely.
It is very much how they've built their credibility, regardless of their ideology. And so Doug Ford is really using this as his own populist moment. So the tariffs on electricity are just step one. He very much intends to cut off New York State.
Great.
Michigan.
This is awesome.
And just come and they are not gonna back down until Trump stops saying 51st state.
Wow.
The tariffs are not the issue. To them, this is about pride. This is about to bring it back to Doug Ford, this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
He is now passing policies that he would never be able to do under any other
He's
circumstance.
like, this is awesome. I've been waiting for this moment.
Yes.
So wait, okay. So in the is it the presidential election or prime minister?
Federal election, and
Right.
it is to determine the prime minister.
Prime minister, okay.
But we don't get to vote directly for prime minister. That's the weird thing. Like, we have the opposite of the electoral college, where we just vote for our local representatives,
and then they vote.
Whoever the most of them are, their leader is the guy.
Oh, and that's where the third and fourth parties can come into play, because they can then form the government. Okay, so let me ask you this: regardless of party. So liberal, conservative, the other ones, the third, fourth, fifth parties.
Bloc Québécois.
Everybody, yes, Bloc Québécois, exactly. All of them are against the tariffs, right? Everyone's pissed at Trump, pissed at the tariffs, so no one is going to be coming out and saying, like, oh, we're with Trump. It's all going to be anti-Trump.
Well, that's a good question, because on the one hand, Poilievre used to love Trump.
But they're going to stick that in his face, I would think, his opponents.
But there could come a time if the sentiment tries to shift, where he tries to have it both ways. He tries to have his cake and eat it too.
Or maybe Trump gets involved and says, this Poilievre guy, I can work with him.
Yeah.
Trudeau's terrible, and so will Carney.
And Poilievre could say, and Trump could say, we will negotiate an end.
Mm-hmm.
And no
under
one else
Poilievre.
can. Yeah. But here's the other variable. There is this guy called Maxime Bernier. And he's a Quebecer.
These are awesome names.
And he has a political party called
He's part of Bloc Québécois?
No. He has his own federal party. So this is a federal party. They ran candidates across the country. I want to say they're the Populist Party. Like, it's some, a P equivalent. And their color is purple.
Okay.
And they
John,
only got...
John, does it make you want to move to Canada and be part of this crazy?
From a political perspective, lots of action. And he only got 7% of the vote, but he is the far-right party that Elon Musk would love to support.
Wow. All right.
So if the conservatives...
Is he doing the Roman salute anytime recently?
Yeah, he definitely is. And if the Tories' support starts to plummet, as the liberals really kind of race towards power, I could see Trump and Musk backing Maxime Bernier, who was a former cabinet minister. Like, he used to be part of the conservatives. He does have profile. And in the COVID times, he was the anti-mask, anti-vaxxer kind of, anti-pandemic guy. So in this crazy world with proper American backing and funding, he could become a player. And that's where I say I think this 90% is more like 80%.
All right.
And I think that as the Canadian economy starts to falter, which it will because we depend upon America, there could be some bleeding. There could be some people who start to fall there.
Well, I think, Jesse, number one, thanks for coming on. Number two, Red Tory, please check it out if you're interested in Canadian politics. Obviously, if you're a LOCPodder, you're going to love Jesse's podcast as well. And I think, so let's see, if Monday is a 6-week countdown to the election, I think that may end up coming right around our next season in late April, early May, which means we're going to have you on right before the election, right, John?
Yeah, for sure.
We got to have him on. Jesse, thanks again for coming on. This is our LOCPod Canadian correspondent, Jesse Hirsh, coming in from Ontario, Canada, with all the update and news. Thanks, Jesse.
It was a pleasure.
All right, awesome.
See ya.
John, that was phenomenal.
I get the idea that Jesse Hirsh might solve our two countries' problems.
I'm with you.
Single-handedly.
He's got so much energy. I seriously could just sit there and listen to the guy talk about all these parties, all this intrigue. I mean, like just even the names. I mean, how many times I didn't expect to say Quebec or Bloc Québécois many times today, and I ended up saying it like 5 times. Bernier. It sounds like something you'd eat.
I have had those in New Orleans. Very good. But yeah, he's going to solve our conflicts between two countries. Jesse Hirsh,
really, really interesting. Check out Red Tory, his new podcast. Check out Jesse Hirsh, Futurist Farmer. Thanks, Steve Kellogg, for finding Jesse originally, and getting him back on. We're going to have another good guest on Tuesday that Steve's lining up. The locomotive, the official locomotive, will be back in the seat across from me. John, thanks a lot. Great production. Jill, thank you for embarrassing me about a Dave Chappelle quote.
You're very easily embarrassed.
Yeah, well, that's true. It seems to be happening to me more and more. This has been Season 14, Episode 19 on LOCPod. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday.